What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Get It Right Saturday Night Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Francis, here with the wonderful and legendary co-host that we have here, Colin Ferdsley and Oscar Morale. We want to thank you guys so much for bearing with us during the Thanksgiving break. We all hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving with your families and with your friends. And thank you for not annoying us and coming at us for not posting a pod. But we are back and we're ready to go full swinging. And let's get right into it with some spontaneous news going on around the world.
Yep. Mark, you want to start off?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I've actually loved to hear is Tiger Woods has returned back to golf, playing in the Heroes Challenge event today with some great names like Tony Finau and Brian Harman playing in it as well. As we speak right now, Tiger Woods is 1 over through 15 holes, and he is not last place. So can't be mad. We're happy about that. But Tiger Woods' return after 7 months of not playing is great, and he did mention that he's going to try to play at least one tournament every month. And he said he's going to keep playing and when he knows he's able to win a tournament, meaning he knows he can win something. So it's only about time when he wins some sort of tournament, hopefully the Masters again. Let's see.
Cool. Oscar, what do you got?
Well, Champions League just wrapped up match day 5. Things are getting juicy leading up to the final match day in December, and teams need victories to qualify. I think really cool. Dortmund qualified in the group of death, guaranteed qualification to the knockout stage, and yeah, just keeping my eye on that. Always fun to watch the Champions League.
Nice.
I
That's
bet,
cool.
yeah.
Well, Von Miller, there was an arrest warrant for Von Miller today for some assault, so that's not good. But he hasn't been playing anyway, so it's whatever. Also, Bronny James, after his cardiac arrest during his summer workout, he's now cleared to play for USC. So congratulations to him, and hope that he has a good season if whenever
Let's
he starts to play.
Hey man,
let's hope
hopefully
we
he's
see him out there.
healthy. Yeah,
Yep.
and gets to
Yeah,
play.
that'd be cool.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
now we're gonna go right into the main stages of the podcast. So first up, we're gonna talk
Oh
about
yeah.
the highly controversial NBA in-season tournament. A lot of stuff is going on. The group stages have finished. Now we're into the knockout stages. So, Oscar, what has been going on? What have you been seeing throughout this tournament?
I saw some absolute pettiness. I know at the beginning of the in-season tournament, I remember first match day, I think we had a pod about it. We talked about it on the pod, and we were saying we didn't like it. The colors are ugly, which I still stand by everything we said in that
Yep.
Yeah,
pod. But
very, very.
I
I
agree.
was not expecting, I was not expecting teams to be this petty and care this much about the in-season tournament. Steve Kerr got very hated. Spoelstra got a tech during
Yeah,
the game and got thrown out. Hey man, apparently these coaches do kind of care, which I guess is good to see. It's good to see a competitive side of basketball before March and April. I think that's always good to see. But yeah, man, if I think now once the knockout phase starts, I think people can enjoy the in-season tournament.
yeah,
But they got to do something about those scores, man. I stand
yeah.
by that. That's terrible.
Yeah, not it is still really bad. And I don't think it's going to change though, unfortunately. Well, now that the knockout stages are starting, the running up of the scores to have the
Yep,
tiebreaker
I was just about to
is
mention
over
that.
with. So Oscar said, hopefully some of the controversy goes away. I think that'll help. Mark, what do you want to say on that?
I just find it interesting because there's always been that unwritten rule of when your team is getting blown out, you kind of just put your starters away, bring in your bench scrubs, and you just play out the game because you know you're gonna win. But in this in-season tournament, every point matters. So you see these guys with 10 seconds left. I mean, you saw it with, I believe, with Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he didn't care. 10 seconds left, they were winning, and he just banks the three in, and people are mad. But in a position where points matter, so you have to break the unwritten rules. And some points, the unwritten rules are not something that we should be listening to, but at some points they are. It's like a courtesy thing. But it's a weird position. I feel like players don't really respect that. But at the same time, when you have something going at you for it, and you could win for just scoring points in general and making your chance to go into the knockout, uh, I think you got to do what you got to do. And it's some divisions or some areas are close in the different divisions. So,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
that is true. Yeah, there was an instance. in the Celtics Bulls game, the Celtics needed to get to a certain amount of point differential in order to get like for the tiebreaker to work out for them. And they were up like 30 points on the Chicago Bulls, and they kept fouling Andre Drummond to get him to the free throw line because he's a terrible free throw shooter. And
Yeah.
Saw that.
Joe Mazzulla, the Celtics coach, and Billy Donovan, the Bulls coach, were getting pretty upset with each other. Understandably so from both sides. I mean, you obviously want to get the tiebreaker, but then it's like, bro,
Yeah.
you're up 30 points. Like, it's kind of disrespectful. Also, there were 7 minutes left in the game at the point that this was going on. It wasn't like there was a couple seconds left. There were 7 minutes we started doing this. It was pretty interesting. So now, however, there are only a few teams left. And so I want to get your guys' opinion on who do you think is going to actually win the in-season tournament? This is the bracket right now. There are uh, there are 4 teams from each conference, and they will meet up in the championship on December 9th.
The Bucks winning it. They're just in form right now. They're a really good team. They're gonna blow out the Knicks. Sorry, Knicks fans, you don't stand a chance, like at all. This
Yeah.
isn't this. Don't get your hopes up. This isn't gonna be a repeat of the Miami Heat and the Bucks in the first round last year. Okay,
Nope.
you're getting blown out. Shout out to Mr. Baker. You know, you said the Knicks Heat game was gonna be good. Your Knicks won, but guess what? All of that just to die to the Bucks. Sorry about that. Miles, I know you're a Knicks fan too. If you're watching this, doesn't matter, man. You're
I'll
gonna
make
lose
them
to the
watch it. Don't worry.
Bucks. Yeah. So I think the Bucks have a really good shot. I think the Celtics is more might have a good chance of winning, but I just see something messing, like just something going wrong for them. Same
Yeah.
thing with the Suns, and I think none of the other teams are at that caliber. I think if you had to put money on it, or if there's odds, I don't know what the Vegas odds are, but I'm assuming it's between the Celtics, Bucks, and the Suns. Those must be the top 3 teams.
Yeah, I'd assume so as well.
I think the Suns and the Celtics I think something goes wrong for them.
I would not be surprised. Yeah.
Uh, I feel like the Celtics are actually going to win. I would pick the Celtics to win. I don't know. They look pretty good. And I don't know. That's just my opinion so
You know,
far.
I've noticed that. I mean, the Lakers, not the greatest of teams. They're not doing insane, but in the tournament, they're actually doing pretty decent, and I believe they went undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. Or they might have lost one game, but they've been playing good in the tournament. I guess it matters to them. If they keep it up, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the championship. But as well, the Kings are playing lights out and they're doing really good.
No, yeah,
But
I expect honestly to be the final to be Bucks Lakers.
yeah, I would not be
Uh,
surprised if it's Bucks Lakers. But I just, I the consistency with the Bucks, yeah, they're getting a little more, getting a hang of it. They had 3 players scored 30 plus points. What was it? Giannis, Dame, and Lopez, I believe, both scored. All 3 of them scored 30 plus. But are we gonna see that every game? I'm not sure. Are we gonna see that consistency of the Bucks coming off the bench? I'm not sure. Uh, you know, I think the Lakers, and I hate saying this because I dislike the Lakers when they beat the Heat in the NBA Finals in the bubble, but uh, I guess it matters to them. I wouldn't be
the
surprised if
Lakers,
they keep
no, I
playing.
think the Lakers just have experience. They know what to do in closeout situations. This isn't a playoff series. These are one and done games, kind of like the NFL playoffs. And
Yeah,
I think the Lakers definitely have the experience and the advantage on them in regards to that, especially through LeBron. I mean, LeBron is just such a savvy, crafty, wise player for his old age, and I think he knows how to get the job done, whether it is through distributing the ball or taking taking the ball for himself and scoring. I know I probably sound like a LeBron fan. I'm not, but I just think
He's
that
good though.
yeah, I just think that in LeBron is the perfect player for a tournament like this to
yeah.
have on your team.
That is true. That is true.
I would love to see in the future if there's maybe uh 4 starting quarterfinal brackets from the Eastern Conference and from the
Yeah,
Western Conference. More teams qualify. It makes it more intriguing, more interesting. Not just 4 teams qualifying.
makes it more
And
competitive too. I
yeah,
think.
so you can have the first seed going up against the 8th seed. Kind of like how the playoffs are made, but it's one and done. I think that'd be a little more exciting for fans to watch.
Yeah, get more of the NBA community involved. I agree with
Yeah,
you, Mark. There, that's a great
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's something that they could do, and if they decide to improve upon that for next year's in-season tournament, if they continue to do so with it, then awesome, great. We'll see them next year.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to seeing the results of this tournament.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because the Heat are going to win the finals anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Hey,
Hopefully,
man,
go Heat.
hey, let's go
Let's go
Heat.
Heat.
I hope
Heat
so.
culture, baby. Heat culture.
Yeah.
Hey,
Uh,
can I just say, every
yeah.
time we wear those jerseys, we ball. Even though they're ugly, those are some
I mean,
ugly
we
jerseys.
just lost the last game, though.
Yeah, but we've been balling with those jerseys on.
But you know who has been balling?
Seriously.
Jaime
Man, Hawkes
Jaquez
Jr.
Jr.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
averaging 17 points per game. His NBA 2K rating just went up from a 72 to a 77 in one day. Okay,
Wow. Good
this
for him.
kid, this kid, he's been balling out, man, and I think he's to steal the draft. He actually now, according to some analysts, he's the third best rookie behind Chet and Victor Wembanyama. So, hey, I think that he got
Can't
to steal the
complain about
draft.
that. Cannot complain about that. Yeah, I
Not at
mean,
all. Not at all.
that's the same thing. The Heat did with Tyler Hero. He went 14th overall. I think
Mhm.
if you're going to do a redraft of that draft class, he goes way, 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 way up higher.
Oh yeah.
So the Heat just know
Yeah.
how to draft, man. They've
Mhm.
always been good
We
at
have a
drafting good prospects.
we have a great system with prospects and just building up these players to be two-way contract players. I mean, we've seen it in Duncan Robinson. We've seen it in a multitude of players, and also
Well,
Duncan Robinson as
I
well
wouldn't
has
say
been balling.
Duncan's a two-way player, but I think that
Well, when he started off his career, he was. Now he's solidified himself as being on the Heat roster consistently with his $90 million contract, which I believe he's on the last year of it, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah,
That was a lot of
but
money.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Duncan's always been
Mhm.
a defensive liability, but he more than makes up for it through his offense. No, but
Yeah.
you're right, Mark. He have always had a good system of development for
Yeah.
young players.
I mean,
I mean, we've
Kendrick
seen
Nunn,
it.
man, look at that guy.
Yeah, he went to the
Caleb
Lakers, and
Martin,
what
Gabe
happened to him?
Vincent.
We have
Yeah.
great system for when you play with us. So there's a very good interview on the JJ Redick podcast with Andre Iguodala about that. He kind of talks about the pros and cons about that. So if you ever want to hear a more in-depth analysis about somebody who's been there, done that, and actually gone through the experience for a few years, look that up. Look at that. I think it's a great, interesting interview and podcast.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
Sure.
Heat wise, if Jimmy gets healthy and all our players begin to get healthy, and once we get Tyler back from his ankle sprain injury, we're coming. And I mean, it's evident. I mean, just take a look at Bam Adebayo. I mean, he has been playing out of his mind. I
all
mean,
you
this
got to
guy, what is it? At minimum 10 rebounds a game, minimum.
yes. No,
Like he's basically averaging a double double,
to be
basically.
honest, all you gotta do is ask a Celtics fan how they feel about the Heat, and that'll tell you all you gotta know. We're
Yeah,
just the pest that's always there in the running for it. And every time you think we go away, guess what? We're knocking on
we
your door again.
we're coming back, man. We
Absolutely.
always do.
Well, speaking of a team that's on the rise, my favorite Florida State Seminoles. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go.
Ha 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 ha.
We're
Colorado
gonna-
School of Mine's better.
Shut up.
Go Ore
Well,
Diggers, let's go.
oh my God. Well, Florida State obviously is gonna make the college football playoff, but we want to talk about college football. This is a crazy week coming up, conference championship week, and the second to last college football playoff rankings just came out on Tuesday. So, well, I guess by the time you're watching this, it wouldn't have just come out, but they came out. So we got the top four. We got Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and Florida State, and then the other four teams you see there on the outside looking in. Oscar, what are you thinking of the rankings this week?
Hey man, I'm just gonna say, I think they got it wrong. And the reason I think they got it wrong is because yes, this was rivalry weekend, and we saw a major matchup between Michigan and Ohio State. And you know what? I think if you put Ohio State up against Washington, they beat Washington. I truly think that, and I think that was such a great, even though it was rivalry weekend, and it was such a great, good game. I don't really, I'm not a fan of either fan bases, so it was a good game to watch. And they, even though Michigan won, I don't think you have to take Ohio State off of the top four because
Yeah.
they were playing the second ranked team in the nation and they were the third ranked team in the nation. So to me, it doesn't make logical sense. You look at who Washington's playing. I'm not saying they're playing scrubs, even though for a lot of the time they have been, but you look at the two games they played last weekend, Washington's game and Ohio State's game, their opponents are two worlds apart, man. Like, you can't taint that on Ohio State because they've been a great football team. And you know what? Even though I'm not a fan of either team, I think they deserve to go to the playoffs, and I think they deserve to keep that third. Maybe bump them down to fourth. Florida State's 12-0. You bump them down to fourth since they have that one loss. And all it does is build suspense and pressure for the playoffs because they played each other already on rivalry weekend. What happens if they play each other in the playoffs? You know what I mean?
Yeah, anything can change.
Yeah.
In playoffs, teams play differently. Playoffs is when it all matters. So teams play
Exactly.
better. It's evident. But I mean,
Yeah, go ahead,
go
Mark.
ahead, go ahead, Colin.
I was just gonna say that I feel like this week's college football playoff rankings are kind of just like they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Were just put out there because all these teams like Georgia's playing Alabama, Washington's playing Oregon. All these teams are about to play each other, and it's gonna depending on what happens.
That's gonna decide who goes into the playoffs. In my opinion.
I don't think these rankings mean anything. Like they really don't. And I'm gonna show you guys here now.
If there's one thing I want to mention, and people have been saying this, and I've seen it all over social media, people are saying Alabama could lurk into the playoffs. Genuinely.
Oh no, they
So look,
absolutely
because
can.
they've been playing out of their dang mind. I mean, let's be real here. Who was their only loss to? Was it Georgia?
Okay. This is where it gets crazy. Okay, they lost to Texas, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. What people are saying is that if Alabama beats Georgia, then that means Texas gets in because Texas beat Alabama, and Alabama. What's the other team?
I do not see the Longhorns.
Georgia beat
I do not.
Texas.
Horns down. I don't see the Longhorns getting into the playoffs. I really don't.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I have this. ESPN has this little cool feature here where you can pick the teams you think are gonna win and see what the chances are. So currently, Georgia here has a 56% chance to make the college football playoff, and they have a 52% chance to win this game. So if we just pick all of the favorites who we assume are going to win these games, this last one's a little bit of a toss-up, but I'll put Oregon because they have a 76% chance to win this game. You put all the favorites. They say these are the four teams making the playoff. Okay, Georgia, Michigan.
I think that's wrong.
I agree. How is this wrong? What's wrong with this?
I don't see Oregon making it. First of all, and I see Georgia losing to Alabama. I'm gonna be real with you. I think Georgia's.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that now.
Wait, hold on. Forget Georgia right now. If Oregon beats Washington, 100% they're in. They have to be in. Who else would be in front of them?
I mean, I don't think Oregon's a better team than Washington. I still think Ohio State should make it to the playoffs.
Who does Ohio play this week?
Ohio doesn't play. That's Ohio State's screwed. Look. I was doing this earlier, so let me see if I can fix. So we'll do another scenario. I think the only let me double check because I could be wrong, but I think the only way Ohio State gets in is if all of the team. Oh wait, I messed up. Where are they here? Yeah, hold on. I think they all have to be upsets in order for them to make it. Let me double check. Yeah, this is the only scenario in which they get in. Every single like Louisville has to beat Florida State, Iowa has to beat Michigan. According to this, this is the only possible way that they can make the college football playoff. So
let me hear. Let's try something on what I think my scenario would be in my opinion. Okay, I think Alabama beats Georgia. I think Louisville beats FSU. Okay, let's put that. I think Michigan's gonna win.
Do you actually believe that?
I mean, this should for me would be the most entertaining, right? This for me would be the biggest toss-up, and I'm really curious who they would believe would make it in the playoffs. Do I think FSU could lose? Possibly. They don't have the starting quarterback anymore. But this is what I think.
Okay.
Let's put Louisville, put
Yeah.
Michigan,
Okay.
and then put the Longhorns, and then put Washington. And who would make it then? So Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Bama. That's why I think people are saying Bama could lurk into the playoffs. I really think so. And
Yeah,
I
Bama,
think,
Bama definitely could. They have
yeah,
to win.
I think Bama has the very. People are. I honestly think Georgia could choke this game and
Like,
Bama could win.
I think if all of the favorites win except Bama, right? And then
Yeah,
this game, I think Alabama would need Washington to win because they're undefeated. Oh wait, no, sorry. So okay, so if that happens, Alabama's still out. But I might have messed up. Let me check this real quick. Florida State. Oh, well, it seems like they need a little bit more help than just beating
Well,
Georgia.
I
Even if they
think
beat Georgia,
I think Georgia definitely does beat Alabama. I mean, they're the team to beat. They have been the team to beat for 2 years
Mhm.
now.
Oscar, what do you
Uh,
want to do?
I think it's Georgia. I think FSU could lose that game, but I'm gonna say FSU wins it. Michigan, the Longhorns, and I think Oregon beats Washington.
I agree.
I'm not that high
I
on
would not be
Washington.
surprised if Oregon. I would not be surprised if Oregon
No,
beats Washington.
or
How Oregon plays. I
mhm.
like how
Yeah,
Oregon plays. Uh I like them. They're a really good team. They dominated Coach Prime's Buffaloes earlier in the year.
yeah.
Um and I'm just not that high on Washington, man. I'm sorry, but I don't get
Well,
it.
yeah, I think Oregon is way better than Washington. They lost to Washington in Washington, and they lost on a fourth down.
On a, yeah,
They
yeah.
lost on fourth down. They almost won that game by two. Washington, if you look at their last couple games, they almost lost to Washington State, which it's a rivalry game. I get it.
Yeah,
They almost lost to Arizona State. They lost. They've been in really close games that they have no business being in
mhm,
close with. They should be blowing out
yeah.
all these teams, and they've just snuck by the entire way.
Again, I mean,
Everyone.
I honestly would love to see
But
Oregon win and go Ducks, But
even still, with this lineup, with Oregon making it in and Texas just barely getting cut out, I still think Ohio State is better than Texas. Maybe not Oregon,
I
but
think Ohio State is better than Florida State.
Dude, I'm not saying I disagree with you guys, but I think from the committee's perspective, Ohio State is screwed. Like they literally can't do anything. Like
I think that's so messed up because
yeah, I think
they're a really
because
good team.
they value
yeah,
the win and loss column more than the opponent. Like
Yeah.
or at least it seems not
yeah.
like
Well,
they're
at
valuing
least in
the
the rankings
difficulty.
during the
Yeah,
season, I think they value the record more, and I think this week is why this week is so so
Mhm.
brutal and drastic to who makes it to the actual college football playoffs.
yeah,
But
for
here,
sure.
let's try something real quick, Colin, if you don't mind. Okay.
Yeah.
I do firmly believe. I mean, I would love to see Bama beat Georgia. So let's put that, and let's put FSU winning. Okay. Now, who's Michigan? I don't know who that is. Who's Michigan playing?
Iowa. They suck.
Iowa. Are
So
they good?
they're
I don't
not good.
know.
They're not good. They're not. They're
All
gonna get
right.
this.
So Michigan's gonna win. Let's
Yeah.
put the Longhorns and let's put Oregon.
Well,
And
didn't we do it? Oh no.
I don't think we did. No. You see, and you see,
Still good
the
doesn't
thing is,
make it though.
the thing is, I think if this is a good playoff lineup. I think if they
Oh.
switch Bama and Texas,
Okay. Yes. I.
in my opinion, I don't.
It's
I
so
think
hard. The fact that there's only 4 teams is so hard. The
yeah,
problem with this though is how they're looking at it. The reason why Texas is in right now. Texas is worse than Alabama and they're worse than Georgia. The reason
yeah,
they put them in is because they beat Alabama earlier in the year, and if Alabama beats Georgia, then by default Texas is better than Georgia, which
yeah.
is
But I think
totally wrong.
I think it's wrong, and that's why I feel like even if this happens, I don't think they would put Texas above Bama. I don't think the committee would do that because I think they don't
They
understand
shouldn't.
how the teams have been playing, and they would
Well,
look at how they've
well,
been doing. That's why I think I would
Mark,
put Bama in there.
I would tend to agree with you, but clearly they're not looking at the matchups like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
because
that's why it sucks.
That's
look,
what we've been discussing. Clearly they don't look at the matchups like that. And if Bama does win, it means nothing to them if Texas wins because they're gonna put Texas over them.
Yeah, but I don't see Texas losing, which sucks. I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Texas is gonna lose.
Yeah, in order for this to be right, Texas would have to lose. Here's the thing. they're not going to not put Florida State in because they're undefeated, even though Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia are all better than them because they
Yeah,
lost Jordan Travis. It's only
yeah,
because of Jordan Travis, okay?
yeah,
Florida State is a really good football team, but because they lost Jordan Travis, they're not as good. But I mean, if you think about it, if you're an FSU player and they deny you go undefeated, you win the ACC championship game, and they deny you because you lost your quarterback to the players, that's not fair. And I
yeah.
get, but to the overall like
I'm not
spectrum of
I'm not
college football,
arguing FSU at all. I think FSU deserves to be in the playoffs. Do I think they're the best team in the playoffs?
I
No,
I
but
think
that's
I
not
think Oregon. I
that's
think
the
Florida
problem.
State at best. I can't. I do not see Florida State being higher than the third best team. I think this with
again.
Florida State being number two is
Mark,
absurd to me.
I completely agree with you, Mark, but this isn't a power ranking,
Yeah,
okay? This is a
Yeah,
qualification for the playoffs. And
yeah,
so
exactly.
when considering that, it doesn't matter if a team is better or not than you. It matters about how you have to qualify for the playoffs.
and I
Yeah,
And
disagree with that system.
right,
and I disagree with
me
it too.
too.
That's why I think
And
they
me
should
too.
change the playoff system. But
Well, they are. Next year it's going to be 12 teams.
yeah, well, thank God.
Well, but see, then it's not going to be as big of an issue. But then the 13th team is going to get pissed off, and we're going to have the same old thing all
Deal
over.
with it, buddy.
But
Make
they're
it
the
next
13th
year.
best team. I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
In the NFL, it's like the same shit. If you miss it, sorry, excuse my
Whoa,
language.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
If
Whoa,
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 if
whoa,
whoa,
if you
whoa,
miss out
whoa.
whoa.
on the playoffs because you have the same record as another team, but you scored less points, that's on you. That's you as a team, and the
Yeah,
players gotta
no.
accept that.
I mean,
That's how it works. You're gonna get upset.
exactly.
That's it.
No, I agree with you. I think 12 might be even a little bit too much. So if you're the 13th best team and you're complaining about not
Yeah,
making it to the playoffs,
exactly.
You're
get
the
good, buddy.
13th best
Yeah,
team. You should be lucky you even have a
I
chance
think
because
I think
5 years ago it would have been the top four teams. You can't even
yeah,
complain about that.
yeah, exactly. I think the perfect way to do it. This is my personal opinion. Call it bias, whatever you think. Just add 4 more teams. I think
Yeah,
top 8
I
would be the
top eight.
perfect number.
I think so as well. Because here, Colin, let's pull up the top 8 best teams right now in the power rankings, and let's see like if this actually was the rankings right now. You these are powerhouse teams. You have Texas there. You have Alabama, Missouri. Come on, like they're
Literally, look at the
okay.
jump from
Once you
8 to 9.
exactly.
Literally.
Exactly my point. I mean, if you're gonna have a team that goes 10-2 playing the best team, that's gonna be an absolute obliteration. That's not even fun at that point. It's
Yeah,
not even fun.
I will say though that this year was really an anomaly. Like the
Yeah,
amount, like, the fact that there are 8 teams that have combined for 4 losses is like kind of rare. So I think it really just became a problem this year that there are still so many good teams. Like a few years ago, you're not going to have Washington and Oregon and Texas and Florida State among these teams. So
yeah,
like it kind of like that's why in years past it wasn't as difficult because you only had maybe 2 undefeated teams, 2 or 3 one-loss teams that were really solid, and then everyone else. But this year
yeah.
there's 8 teams that all 8 of them could like you could make a case for all 8 of these teams to make the college football playoff,
No, you
unless
could make a
you
case for
look
all
up
8 of
something.
these teams to win the
Win
college
it.
football
Yeah, you can.
playoffs. I
Yeah,
mean, look at Texas; they could win it. Look at Ohio State; Alabama could win it. I mean, the 8th team in the power rankings could win it. 2 years ago, you did not see that. You really
No.
yeah,
didn't.
exactly,
You're
exactly.
absolutely right, Colin and Mark, in that regard. But parity is bliss, man. Like it's good to have parity in sports and having a lot of teams that are good because it's better
Yeah,
for the
makes it
viewer, it's
exciting.
Yeah,
better for the
and
sport, it's better
it's
for the athletes, it builds more competitive nature, it builds rivalries. I mean,
and it also shows how much high school wise and college wise how much dedication these players have put in for them to improve, which is why the sport of football is getting better every single year. It's why you're seeing rookies going into the NFL playing their minds out. We don't
yeah,
many 10 years ago it was rare to see that. It wasn't common. Little by little, you're seeing rookies get better and better, and it's evident. With Justin Herbert. Now you have C.J. Stroud. I mean, it's really
yeah, no,
showing,
and even in the
right?
skill positions, you look at a Puka Nakua, Devon Achan in his like few douses, even though he hasn't played as many games as Puka Nakua, the
Yeah,
few times he has played, he's been extremely effective, and
absolutely.
that's just this year alone. I mean, we can go back the last 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons and recall great players. I mean, OBJ was an anomaly back 10 years ago,
Yeah,
as a breakout rookie, but now you have 3 or 4 every year. I'm
yeah,
sure Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a great rookie next year wherever he
absolutely,
goes.
absolutely.
So
Yep.
And
So yeah, go ahead.
it's cool because this also shows how important when a player commits to a team, how it really could change the way of that team will play. I mean, look at it. Like right now, CU Boulder, the two top recruits that they had have decommitted from CU Boulder. All right, and it's like it shows how much these good teams really want to get good players. The better the recruiting, the more they're finding all these great players. It's making the game more fun. I mean, in the end, it's all about these players making it to the big leagues, the NFL, and being successful and winning awards and winning the Super Bowl. But at the same time, the college football it might be more important in the same way, which is
Yep.
why like changing the playoff format, I think to 8 is
It's the
it's
greatest.
perfect.
Yeah, it's the greatest thing college football has done for itself in the last
Yeah.
half a century.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
let's be real. If you saw these 8 teams going into the playoffs,
Who wouldn't be
this
psyched? Who
this
wouldn't
would be
psyched?
this would be one of the best playoffs we have seen ever. I mean,
Yeah.
I would not get I would have to buy 5 TVs, throw them all on each corner, and watch every single game at the same time because this would be the most fun people have ever had in
Yeah.
In the college
in
playoffs.
college
Yeah,
football
and you
history.
get more colleges involved, more students from different colleges involved. I mean, it's a win-win for
Yeah.
everybody, man.
Yeah. Exactly. I wanna finish off this segment with two things. First of all, shout out Josh in the background. You know, he made a little couple appearances. Good to
Shout out
see.
Josh, man. Shout out
Gotta love
Josh.
Josh.
Let's
Gotta
go.
love
Hey,
Josh.
like come in here. Come on, Josh. Let's
Josh,
go.
come here. Josh, come here. Come here. We gotta say what's up to Josh, man. Coming back from Design Lab. What's
Whoa.
up?
Hey, that's
Joshua
what's
Hart. Let's go.
Secondly, thanks, Josh. It was great to see you. Just
Yep.
real quick, give me who do you think is going to make the college football playoff right now? Go, Mark. You go first.
Right now,
Yep. Quick.
Michigan, Alabama, Florida State, Oregon.
All right. Nice, Oscar.
I think it's gonna be Georgia, Michigan, Florida State. I want to say Oregon. I don't think maybe Washington. I don't know. That last spot is a toss-up. I think those three are a lock for sure. I would be delighted to see Alabama. I want to say Alabama, but I think it's gonna be Oregon.
I agree. I agree with the same as you. I'm gonna go Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Oregon. So now for the rest of this podcast, let's jump over into the NFL. Now we missed last week because of
The
Thanksgiving,
spicy
but
stuff.
we're still. So we have two great good news for you guys. We have 2 weeks of football to go over for you right
Oh
now.
yeah. Why
So
have 1 week
And
when you
none
can
of the
have
blunders.
another one?
Only the highlights.
Exactly. Only the highlights. We're not going to spend 2 hours on this, but Thursday night, Bengals versus Ravens. Obviously, the headline there: Joe Burrow's out for the season.
Yep.
Poor
Very
Bengals, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but again, would have been a great game if Joe Burrow continued playing, and always a great rivalry to see going on in the AFC. And I mean,
And
two
you
great
know what?
teams.
You know what? Hey man, the Ravens, even with Joe Burrow out, they looked. While he was playing, they were losing that game.
Yeah.
And even with him out, I know the Ravens went up and the Bengals scored a bunch of garbage time points. So I guess they kind of dominated that game. But for the first quarter and a little bit, hey man, the Ravens are not looking as dominant as they were a few weeks ago. All I'd like to
Yep.
say.
Yep.
I think we'll see that in the next week's analysis too.
Mhm. Well, the Steelers, they only scored 10 points against the Browns. So, they
And
made a little change.
we got rid of Matt Canada, man.
Yeah.
Thank God. I mean, this has got to be the greatest decision since the invention of the wheel. Okay. Finally, the Steelers have hope to have a good offense. I mean, I'm just gonna say this real quick. Matt Canada benching Najee Harris because he's a horrible offensive coordinator and a play caller, and them starting Jalen Warren. Are you out of your freaking mind?
Hey,
Are you
you know what?
Are you out of your mind?
Well,
Alright, I get
maybe-
it.
I
But
think
come on.
I would say in an NFL system, Jalen Warren is a better running back. Who is the more talented player? Najee by far.
I would
But I
say
would
they
think-
have a good committee for running backs. They could
Yeah.
split touches, and then they have a good run game.
Yeah,
Kind of like how the
yeah.
Lions are doing. Both great running backs, right?
I agree with you,
Well,
Mark.
who knows? Maybe firing Matt Canada would allow this offense to actually produce 400 yards of offense. Maybe.
Ooh.
Well,
I don't think
Foreshadowing.
so. I don't think so.
Maybe it would have
Ooh.
happened.
Foreshadow.
Well,
Are we looking into the future?
whoa, we'll get there eventually. Raiders versus Dolphins, the return of Jalen Ramsey, 2 interceptions, along with the game-sealing one right there. So that was
Yep.
pretty good. Even though way closer of a game than we would want to happen,
Hey man,
we still got the dub.
the Dolphins defense getting better every week. We already know what the
Yep.
offense can do. When it
Yep.
clicks, it's the best offense in the league. I'm not worried about the offense. Come playoff time, I know they'll be ready.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love what I'm seeing from the Dolphins, man. The Dolphin defense gets better and better every week. Let's go Fins, man.
Let's go Fins, baby.
The greatest
Raider
show on
Nation.
surf. The greatest show on surf.
I mean, I love the Raiders. Shout out to Coach K, Raiders. But this was it's a Dolphins game, and the Dolphins are playing great.
Yeah, absolutely. Bears Lions, the Bears gave them a little scare, but nothing too much going on there. The Packers finally won a game.
Yep.
CJ Stroud continued his dominance against the Cardinals.
Yep.
The Cowboys, I mean, come on now. When you lose by 23, maybe you would want to fire your head coach. Maybe
What?
What?
Frank Wright being fired for a second season in a row? I could never imagine that.
Yeah, well, Battle of the Mid. Tommy DeVito actually played pretty well, so good for him. Brock Purdy and the Niners are back on track. The Jets suck. The Rams actually did something.
Yep.
Stop me if you guys want to talk about a specific game. The Broncos country let's ride.
Hold on.
Yeah,
please.
So
May I?
Go ahead, sir.
Broncos country, let's ride. Now here, they're 5-5. Could they go 6-5? Let's find out.
I think just very quickly, Rams versus Seahawks was a very demoralizing blow for the Seahawks and a great step up for the Rams. Hey man, those bottom wildcard spots for the NFC are wide open, man. Those are anybody's to grab.
Yep.
So I think it's gonna be an interesting race now at the end of the season for the NFC.
In general, the playoffs this season are looking like it's going to be a fun one. You have a lot of these teams lurking in, a lot of the teams with the same records. This is going to be a really good playoffs for football,
yeah, for sure,
both in college football and in the NFL. So that's exciting for football fans coming to the future.
Absolutely.
The Eagles beat the Chiefs in a close one. The Chiefs could have won if Marquez Valdes-Scantling could catch, but
yeah, man.
It was a good game though, the Eagles got their revenge, but
that guy dropped that guy dropped the ball like how I've dropped like 5 goals in the last month.
I think we all predicted the Eagles to win on that one, no?
Yeah, man. I mean,
we all got that one right.
I think so. Hey, just to mention real quick, the Eagles' only loss has come from the Jets and Zach Wilson.
That's true. That's true.
Is really weird.
Zach Wilson is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Does that make the Jets the best team in the NFL?
Well,
best team in the NFL.
Best team in the NFL. Now we go to last week. Major upset due to the moon. Of course, it has to do with the moon. The Packers, they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. So
man,
is it? Wait, whoa, call it. Is it a major upset? I mean,
absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
If we look at history and the track record, if we look at the numbers, if we look at the data, the statistics.
We look at the moon.
If we look at the statistics.
And the moon.
The Lions always lose on Thanksgiving.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
It is a
when there's the moon, the waxing gibbous or waning. I don't know which one it is, but one of the gibbuses.
Yeah, the Lions lose every Thanksgiving. It's like a Thanksgiving ritual. You have your stuffing, you have your turkey, you have
the Lions on TV
you have your yams, and then you have the Lions losing on Thanksgiving. I mean, it's like it's ritual. It's like seeing your family.
Yeah.
It's like enjoying that macaroni and cheese casserole, and then enjoying the Lions losing. I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
I know.
This is amazing.
It's like the girls Mark talks to.
Yeah, they lose every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it is quite funny. Also on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys, Dak Prescott is looking really, really good. They beat the Commanders, but they suck, so it's fine.
Yeah.
The 49ers dominated the Seahawks. Seahawks are kind of sliding a little bit. They have a really tough schedule.
They do. They
do have a really tough schedule. I don't think the Seahawks will make the playoffs.
Yeah,
Sadly,
Hot
I
take.
would have loved to see them in the playoffs.
CMC got 2 more touchdowns. The Dolphins beat the Jets, of course. Stop playing with us. We got the, what do you guys want to call it? The Fail Mary.
The Hail
The
Mary, the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
no,
Well,
we got man. I mean, I love it when the Dolphins make crazy plays like this because I love seeing the clips of Mike McDaniels running like a maniac. I
oh,
mean, keep
speaking
them
of
coming. Keep
Call
them
speaking of
it.
that,
coming.
We can
have you
call it
guys watched?
the Jail
Oh,
Mary since the Jets got locked up, man. The Jail Mary.
I like that. I like that one.
Oh
Speaking
yeah.
of Mike McDaniel, have you guys watched Hard Knocks at all?
No,
Have you
sir.
guys,
Yes, I have. It is great. I
Mark, you
love
got to
Hard
get on
Knocks.
that, bro.
I do not have HBO. Sorry.
I'll
That is
share,
the only streaming website I do not have.
you got it, Mark. I'll share my
Mm,
account with you.
Bet.
there we go. Sunday games. The Colts they beat the Buccaneers. The
Hold on.
Giants.
Can I just say one thing about the
Go ahead,
Colts?
sir. What do you want to say?
The Colts are actually playing really good with Gardner Minshew. You know, the
No, yeah,
Colts
they've
have a
been great.
great team there. And you know, they just took a big blow losing Jonathan Taylor for about 3 to
Hmm.
5 weeks.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew's looking real good there.
Hey, but he's playing
All right,
decent.
look.
I mean, look at their record.
For the type of quarterback that he is, call it 251 yards is not that bad.
Okay,
And
that's fine.
and Michael Pittman, man, I mean, this guy has been recording 14 targets, 15 targets a game. He's a target machine. He's a PPR machine. He's arguably one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL right now, Michael Pittman Jr. And I think I would love to see Michael Pittman Jr. Get back with Anthony Richardson next year, and hopefully they produce a 1,000 yard season.
I think the
And
Colts had a very, very, very good shot of making the playoffs, but due to recent unforeseen circumstances, with Jonathan Taylor injury slash surgery, hey
but
man,
but hey, if there's
it
one thing
hurts
to
me
say,
as a fantasy owner. It does.
Zach Moss when before Jonathan Taylor returned, the 3 games before he rushed for 100+ yards. So you know that's it's a good thing to know that at least your backup running back is pretty decent and he
It's
knows what he's
capable.
doing. Yeah,
I think it's very fair to say their backup running back is capable.
yeah.
Yep, that is true. The Patriots they
They're
they suck. It's
This
so
was, you know
funny.
what? You know
they
what? That was
lost.
game of the year. That was game of the year right there. Patriots, Giants, whoever. They were both trying to lose that game because they both
Oh,
wanted Caleb Williams in this year's
exactly.
draft.
They literally lost to Tommy DeVito. Buongiorno. This, I mean, the Italian dream. I mean, this guy eats chicken cutlets and pasta every night.
Hey man, you don't got.
Buongiorno.
Oh, it's cool. Anyway, Bill Belichick, like it's just so funny that he sucks. Like it's really funny,
You know,
and they don't
it's
have any
kind of like he
quarterback.
needs Tom Brady.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just so happy that they suck. It's really funny. The Steelers. When you fire Matt Canada, let's see how good they did. Wow, 400 yards of offense.
This is this is this is mind blowing. 268 passing yards.
I must say, I must say,
Kenny Pickett.
the Steelers can have a much better offense, but I think they will always be limited as long as they have Kenny Pickett.
I agree with that. The other thing I
I agree
will
with that
say
statement.
though, everyone is making a big deal like, wow, Matt Canada was really the problem. 421 yards of offense. They scored 16 points. Like, come on
Yeah,
now. Like, it
yeah, yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
crazy.
And let's not keep it too much of an overreaction. This is a very injured, hurt, like and defeated Bengals team.
Yeah.
Like this Bengals team does not care about this season anymore whatsoever.
But
Nation
finally,
is
man.
packed and ready to come back next year.
Finally, the Steelers did something for once. But there is some beef and drama cooking up there with Deontay Johnson. You can tell he doesn't want to be there. So I'm really curious what's going to happen this offseason with him. Is he going to a different team? Does he want to get traded? You know, what's going to happen there and what they're going to do with the quarterback situation. They're going to stick with Kenny Pickett. Are they? I mean, I don't know. Let's see.
The Titans they beat the Panthers, who fall
Derrick
to
Henry
what,
carried.
1-11 or what are they 1-10? I don't
Yeah,
know.
something bad like that. Derrick
Well,
Henry carried the Titans, man.
yeah, and now their head coach is fired. Frank Reich was dismissed. And so we'll see. I mean, Bryce Young. It sucks for Bryce Young. He's put in a really tough spot now. So
Yeah.
we'll see how he develops. a really, really good game. The Jaguars versus the Texans, both quarterbacks spot out, and I think this is going to be an AFC South rivalry for many years to come with
Yeah,
these two
I think so
rising
too.
Hopefully,
quarterbacks.
you know what? Hopefully it is. I would love to see
Yeah,
that.
Even
yeah,
Trevor Lawrence said, he likes it when he faces the bad teams in the division, but he said he knows this is going to be a rivalry for the next
yeah,
upcoming years, and it's going to be a fun one to watch every time these
yep.
two teams face off. And
Exactly. Came
this
down
game could
to
have went to overtime,
yeah,
really, and hey, just the kicker just didn't make the kick, and that's
yeah.
unfortunate. But
Hit the crossbar on the game
yeah,
tying field goal.
yeah,
The Saints beat the Falcons. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to say there.
no,
Yeah, the Rams beat the Cardinals. Kyron Williams,
Kyron
in fact,
Williams. I
went
mean,
absolutely, as Mark would
What a
say,
baller.
ballistics.
No,
he
he's a
went
baller.
ballistics, man. Like
He
I
went
literally went,
ballistics.
he went ballistics.
He had 143 yards rushing, along with 6 catches, 61 yards, and 2 touchdowns
Yeah.
receiving. So he had a
Man,
phenomenal game. His first game
if
back from
there's
IR.
if there's one thing that's confusing me about the Rams, you have
Mm,
Cooper Kupp, you have Puka Nacua, you have Tyler Higbee. Why aren't you throwing to them? Like
yes, yeah.
I don't get it. You
Well,
have
Tutu's nice.
what? Well, yeah,
Tutu's nice.
Tutu's nice, but he's your third string. You have these great players that can produce really well. Maybe try to throw to them a little bit more.
Yeah.
But again, it's the Cardinals, Kyler Murray.
Uh-huh.
I mean.
Mark, I'll let you take on this next game. What do you have to say about it?
Broncos country. Let's ride, baby. Let's ride. Yo, they're riding to the bowl, as my friend John Williams Sunenberg IV would say. The Broncos are riding to the bowl. I don't think so, but if that's what they think. It's a great win against the Browns. The Browns have one of I think, the lowest allowing defense
Yeah,
in
they have
rushing
great.
and passing yards, and they doubled them in scoring, which is great. And
Mm-hmm.
kudos to them. Broncos country, Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited. Unlimited. Playing pretty good. And, we're seeing a little bit of old Russell Wilson back in there, and it's nice to see that.
I think this is good for both teams. Broncos get a little bit of momentum. Getting back to 500 and hopefully going
Above
positive.
500, actually.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying like this game helps the gain momentum now that they're over 500, and they were getting to 500 like before is what I meant. Like coming into this game, they got back
Yeah.
to 500, and this is good for the Brown, and it gives them momentum now going forward. Hopefully to make a playoff push for them. Hopefully, and for the Browns. It kind of brings them back to earth a little bit because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of those AFC North teams were like, "Hey man, we're 7-3. We got this. We're strong. We're good." And it's good to have that confidence and that momentum. But you got to realize what team you're playing on and who you're playing with as well. It's always great to play as a team. And a lot of these teams, they're just missing those superstar factors. I think the Browns could have been extremely deadly this year had Nick Chubb not gotten injured earlier in
Yeah,
the
and,
year.
and same thing with Deshaun Watson.
And then, their
You know,
quarterback, Deshaun Watson, also got hurt. So I think the Browns just got to cool it down a little bit, play hard, play smart, and
the
maybe they can
Browns
make a
is a
playoff push.
the
Yeah, for
Browns
sure.
is a dark horse team for a playoff push, and even in the next 2 or 3 years, if they keep the team that they have now and maybe get a
If
star
they
receiver,
stay
for example.
healthy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Poor Miles Garrett, man. He's been balling out of his mind. That guy definitely, to me, defensive
I
MVP.
think Miles Garrett. I think he likes sitting in Cleveland. I think he likes the situation he's in now. He knows he's on a
Oh,
good
for
team,
sure.
and
Always a good defense when he's on that team.
yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely.
great defense to watch, great player.
Yep.
It's fun.
One of the great games of the week, probably the game of the week, Bills
Probably
versus the
very
Eagles.
very controversial as well with
Keeping
some
it
calls.
real. This is probably the game of the year so far.
Yeah.
Keeping it real.
Possibly.
Wait for next week. When we do the recap for next week, there is one game next week that's probably we said a game of the year when it was the Chiefs and the Eagles, and then Bills Eagles, and there's another game that involves the Eagles next week that we will go over. But sticking with this game, it was really good. Obviously, went into overtime. The Eagles pulled it out, but the Bills looked really, really good for like they were winning for a very large portion of that
yeah.
game, and definitely played way better than any other game they played this entire year. and they still lost because the Eagles are just that good.
Hey, if there's one thing about the Eagles, and it's more about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a very humble quarterback, and you can tell he was disappointed in himself in having to
For
put his
sure.
kicker in a situation like that. He was mad. He was shaking his head. He was mad. He does not want to put his team in a situation like this when he knows he could have played
Oh,
better. I believe he threw what was it,
absolutely.
one or two interceptions and some plays that didn't go his way.
Jalen
And
Hurts is just absolutely inspirational,
Yeah.
man.
yeah,
I think he's
But
a phenomenal quarterback, and he's going to be one of the greats in the next 10 years.
mhm.
I saw a saying he said in one of his press conferences. He said, "I have a purpose before anyone had an opinion." I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
that just goes so hard.
It
It
defines
just
him.
defines who he is. I mean, he talks in Instagram captions. First of all, like
He does. He does. It's quite funny, actually.
it is pretty funny, but hey, it was a great game,
Yeah,
and
gotta
the
respect him for everything he does.
Eagles did pretty good, and Jalen Hurts
Yep.
MVP soon, possibly. I mean, you never
Well,
know.
yeah.
See it.
I
Another
think
good
he
thing
is
about this
so
game
far.
is the
It's
Dol-
between him and sorry, Colin.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. No,
I
no, you
think
go
the
ahead.
MVP race is definitely between him and Tyreek Hill. I think if Tyreek Hill hits 2,000, just as a courtesy, you should give it to him, man. Because
I
no
I
don't.
receiver.
disagree.
I disagree.
I think the front runner right now is Dak Prescott. Personally, I think
I
Dak.
think
I think
I
Jalen
th-
Hurts for sure.
I think Jalen Hurts, Dak
Yeah.
Prescott, and Tua Tagovailoa. Um,
I,
it's I don't see Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey winning
Well,
the
the
MVP just
reason
because
the
uh
reason I say that is because when you think about it, right? The MVP and the MVP technically any player can win it, right? Any player
yeah.
on any team, no matter the position, right? Uh, only one kicker in the history has ever of the NFL has ever won it. I believe it was in 1956.
no, it was like 1984 or 1983 or 84.
Well, the point is, it happened already. It's probably never gonna happen again,
Yeah.
right? Running backs can win it. They have to do some monumental stuff, but I still
Yeah.
think in the modern age, a running back, can win the MVP.
I
But
I
for a
I I don't
but for a
the
wide
problem with
receiver,
that
the thing is, for a wide receiver, when when especially nowadays, like in the modern, we're talking straight. Like we know wide receiver has a wide receiver. I think a wide receiver has
No,
definitely won it.
no. I
no
mean,
wide
Ever?
receiver has ever won.
the problem with that is that you can recall the season with Cooper Cup achieving the Triple Crown, right?
Right.
And he still didn't win the MVP. That's why, and Tyreek Hill, he's not going to win the Triple Crown. Okay,
I
he can go for 2,000 yards. We know that he could break Calvin Johnson's record. He could do that. But is he going to win the? Is that MVP caliber level? No. If Cooper Cup with the
well,
Triple
what if?
Crown
Whoa,
couldn't
whoa,
achieve
whoa,
that,
whoa, 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 whoa. Who's to say he can't do that? Who's to say he can't go to the Super Bowl, win it,
I
and win
mean,
Super Bowl MVP
yeah,
because of his
but
performance at the Super Bowl?
again, is that realistic? Is that going to happen when you
Well,
have a quarterback?
we're talking about what ifs right now, and
Yeah, but
what if he does that? And this is what I'm saying: if there was ever a moment to crown a wide receiver as MVP, you think about it. You think about okay, if a wide receiver wins MVP, what does he have to do? You say
He's got to break every record in the
and
league, and he's got to
right,
achieve the
right,
Triple Crown. In my
and you
opinion, that's what he's got to do.
and you just said Cooper Cup didn't do it with the Triple Crown that he won in 2020, I believe it was, right?
Yeah,
No,
2 years ago.
2021. But the only thing you can say on Cooper Cup he didn't do was what? He didn't break the receiving record, right? Calvin
Yeah, he was
Johnson's
like
receiving
he
record.
was 40 yards off.
I know, I completely agree with you, but the point is he didn't break it, right? If you're telling me Tyreek Hill not only breaks Calvin Johnson's receiving record, but goes over 2,000 yards, even if it's just by 2 or 3 yards, it's still 2,000 yards. You understand what I'm saying? He goes
Yeah.
over 2,000 yards. If he wins the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP, what else would a receiver have to do for you to win MVP?
No, wait, no, hold on.
No,
No.
no, no.
The MVP,
The MVP is announced before the Super
before
Bowl.
the Super Bowl.
It's the NFL Honors Award happens like 2 or 3 days before the Super Bowl. It's on Super
Yeah.
Bowl week. And also, if you think about it, if he goes for 2,000 yards, who threw those 2,000 yards? Tua Tagovailoa. And there are 2 Dolphins receivers right now, like Jalen Waddle as well. He's popping off. I mean, I'm gonna be so real with you. You know, Dak Prescott, front runner.
I
But
completely agree with you.
I don't see it.
I understand what you're saying, Mark. But here's the thing: you think about Tua, and I love Tua. I love everything Dolphins related. I'm a Dolphins fan, right? I want the best for that team always. However, you look at Tua, and I'm just being realistic here, and you compare him to other MVPs in the MVP conversation, specifically Jalen Hurts and what he has done time in and time out, especially against big-time
Disagree.
teams. Especially against big-time teams. Well, we're talking about what Jalen Hurts did against the Eagles, what he did against the Chiefs, okay? I mean, what Jalen Hurts did against the Bills, what he did against the Chiefs, right? And he has to play the 49ers now as well.
Yeah,
And if
but
they win that game,
but who have the Dolphins are in basically the same situation as well. I mean,
well, the thing
let's
is,
be
as much as I love the Dolphins, but they haven't beat any teams
Oscar,
over 500.
Oscar, Jalen Hurts is not the best player. He's the most clutch player. He performs incredibly well at the end of games. If you looked at Jalen Hurts' stats, middle end of the
Jalen
game,
Hurts, first of
it
all,
was
is not even
bad.
top 10 in passing yards. First of all, Jalen Hurts is not even top 10 in passing yards.
Jalen
Jalen
Hurts,
he's not even top 10 in passing touchdowns. He has a 67% completion rate, which is 10th in the league right now, while Tua is third for 69. Okay, Tua Tagovailoa has 8.4 yards per attempt, and Jalen Hurts has 7.5. Still better. Passer rating, way better, way better.
No, I understand.
Jalen Hurts is not even top 10.
I know Tua's leading the league in all statistical categories. For NFL, I mean for statistical categories for quarterbacks in the NFL. I understand that completely. But you look at what the Eagles have done, and they wouldn't have been able to win these close, clutch games if it weren't for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
He's
but
the
neither.
reason
Yeah, I
he's
absolutely agree
winning
with
those
that.
games.
I
And I
absolutely agree
don't
with that.
think. And although I love Tua, and I think it would be awesome if he won the MVP, and I would be rooting for him if he does, I think the reason Miami were to win those games, if they win it, would not be because of Tua. It would either be because of Mike McDaniel or Tyreek Hill.
But
Okay.
I disagree with that fully. Because yeah, Tyreek Hill is a Tyreek Hill is a great player, and yeah, he could break the passing yards record, but that is not MVP caliber. If
Okay.
Cooper Kupp couldn't get it, I think offensive player of the year.
Okay, but
Boom.
screw Cooper Kupp.
No, I
You
disagree.
can't
I
say
disagree.
that.
I
Okay,
disagree.
Can't say
Mark,
that.
screw Cooper Kupp. In your opinion then, what does a wide receiver have to do to win MVP? Are you telling me a wide receiver can never win MVP?
I'm telling you, the odds of a wide receiver winning the MVP has to be when every quarterback in the
That's
league has done absolutely dog trash, and he's the only reason that the team has pushed it to the playoffs because that receiver has caught for 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 130 receptions, and then their quarterback are doing absolutely dog crap.
well,
If you have,
but Mark,
if you have,
by your logic, literally by your logic, you would say that his quarterback would, by and turn, win the MVP because his quarterback would be the one throwing him the balls.
Yeah, but what if his quarterback was the only one throwing him the balls and not to anyone else, and that quarterback only has 300 passing yards, and 2,200 of those were to that receiver? Then I could give a reason for
All due
wide receiver
respect to
doing MVP.
Jalen Waddle. I love the wide receiver duo here in Miami. All due respect to Jalen Waddle, but it's not the same. We're not comparing the same two types of players, all right? Tyreek
No,
Hill
I
is
know
what
that.
puts Miami over the edge, man. Tyreek Hill is the reason teams have to game plan differently on defense against
Well, same
Miami.
thing with Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, but we're not talking about Christian McCaffrey right now, though.
But
Tyreek
if we can compare, the thing is you can compare
But
like
that's
specific
not.
players that
But
change defenses and
but
how
you're
they
wrong,
play.
Mark. But you're wrong because Christian McCaffrey isn't the reason that San Francisco offensive schemes or offensive game changes completely. That team is stacked. No, that team is stacked on offense. That team has the biggest names in all of football on offense.
They have Christian McCaffrey. They have Brock Purdy, who's a system quarterback, and then you have
I'm not talking
Brandon
about Brock
Ayuk
Purdy.
and Debo Samuel. But you're
They
talking
have
about
Debo
the
Samuel
offense.
and
That's the
George
thing.
Kittle. Yes, but they have Debo Samuel and George Kittle.
And
man.
what have they done this year? That's the
And
thing.
Okay,
It's like you got to compare it to what they've done
because
this year.
Kyle Shanahan loves running the ball, and Kyle Shanahan, as the great head coach that he is, knows what to do and knows how to utilize his players the best. But they have a star-studded team, man. Tyreek Hill is the only reason that Miami's entire game plan shifts. Before CMC got to San Francisco, that team was already great offensively, and you cannot say that about Miami.
I disagree with that. I think we have different views on how the MVP would be given, and like it's it's a weird award because
you're right. We have different views, but that's not what I was asking you, Mark. I'm asking you, in your opinion, what do you think it would take for a wide receiver to win the MVP?
he's got to be the one carrying the team fully.
And you don't
Straight
think
obliteration.
and you don't think Tyreek Hill's not doing that?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because you have a great defense surrounded by him. You have you have a top 15 wide receiver right behind him.
But the
you
wide
have,
receiver, okay, you're right. The wide receiver
you have a top 4 quarterback.
Can't control okay, but the reason he's a top 4 quarterback is because of Tyreek Hill, man.
But that's
Well, you can say the same thing the other way around.
Yeah, you can say the same thing about Dak Prescott as well.
Can you really?
You can. I mean, you can make an argument that Tyreek Hill is getting 2,000 yards because Tua's throwing him the ball. Like, I'm not saying I agree with that, but
you could do the same with Keenan
Okay,
Allen because he's at 100 yards behind them.
You can make but you can make that, like you guys said, you can make that argument about anything. Let's be real here, okay? That's the truth.
Look,
the
here's what I'm gonna say. How the MVP works. If you have a great, okay, let's do like 1 out of 10. If you have like a 8 ranked, like an 8 quarterback, like 8 out of 10, he's an 8 quarterback, and you have a 9.5 wide receiver, the quarterback is still gonna win the MVP.
Yeah.
If those are the two comparisons. So that's what I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
Do I think he should? Depending on how
I would love to see him win it. I think he's more of an offensive player of the year winner with Christian McCaffrey. That's what I think.
That's exactly what I was saying. I'm not saying that I think he's gonna win it, but I think he should win it. I think if there was ever a year, if he breaks the 2,000 yard mark, okay, and he makes it to the Super Bowl, because clearly, you can't decide.
But it doesn't.
I know. You can't decide.
He doesn't.
I know. You're saying that. I know what you're saying. That they don't know if he's gonna win the Super Bowl or not, but they'll know if he makes it to the Super Bowl by the time they vote.
But technically it's a regular season award. They can't take the playoffs into account.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, also, if you think about it, why hasn't last year? Why didn't Travis Kelce win the MVP? He was the best tight end in the league. He had obliterated every other tight end in every single category possible. Why didn't he win?
Because he's playing with the most talented quarterback in the history of the NFL.
But that's basically in the same situation with Tua Tagovailoa.
Are you okay? I love Tua. I think he's an elite quarterback, and I think he's top 5 quarterback in the NFL this year. But you cannot compare Tua Tagovailoa to Patrick Mahomes, Mark.
I mean, but I'm just saying, if we're comparing how the MVP,
you can straight up walk into a barbershop, look at your barber in the face, and say Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback in league history, and that's a valid take.
It is a valid take. But then also, how come in 2019 Christian McCaffrey didn't win the MVP? He broke every single record possible. He broke the reception record. He basically had a 2,000-yard season.
He was on a terrible team. That's why.
Yeah, but if he's on a terrible team, how come he didn't win the MVP? I mean, you can make the same argument as well.
No, you can't make the same argument because of what Colin just said, because he didn't win anything. Tyreek Hill is doing all of this. Cooper Kupp is doing all of this on winning these games. They're the reason that their teams are winning games.
But they're also the reason that the team was doing good in general.
Yeah.
So,
but what you just said it yourself. CMC did all of this individually, but his team wasn't doing good. They're not he wasn't the reason that team was doing good, because that team didn't do good.
The MVP isn't awarded to the most valuable team. It's not the MVT. It's the MVP, most valuable player. So who was most valuable in their position in the whole league at that position? It's not awarded. The team can go 1-15 or 1-16, right?
No,
and the player could break every freaking record possible, and they could win the MVP. That's very possible.
I understand.
I mean, if you go through the history,
when it's an obvious case like that, again, I said I don't think he's going to, but he should win it. I think if there was ever a season to give a wide receiver the MVP, it would be this one. If Tyreek Hill breaks the 2,000-yard mark.
I don't think so, because then people make the argument that Cooper Kupp should have won it and all these different things and all this.
But
and all
Cooper
that.
Kupp didn't break the 2,000-yard mark.
But he had the Triple Crown and almost broke it by 40 yards.
Okay, but you said yourself you can't factor in the Super Bowl, which I agree.
I didn't factor in the Super Bowl.
Okay, but you're saying you had the Triple Crown. Don't bring that up
No,
then.
no, Triple
The
Crown is
Triple Crown
catches and yards.
is most catches, most touchdowns, and most
Yard,
receptions.
yards.
Oh,
Most yards.
I thought you were saying he had the okay. I thought you were saying he had the most yards, a Super Bowl one, and Super Bowl MVP.
No, that's not what Triple
No, the
Crown.
Triple Crown is when the player has the most touchdowns, the most yards, and the most receptions in the whole league, and that player achieved all three of those in the same season
Well,
at
I
the same
think.
time.
Well, then I agree with you there, Mark. I think Cooper Cup definitely was deserving of an MVP. I think he was in that season because it
Okay.
wasn't. No, Colin. This is good. This is good for the pod, man. Let us pod, man. Let's keep
This
it
is
a
all
bean.
love, baby. This is
Yeah,
all
of
love.
course.
This
This
is
is
all
for
love.
the pod right here. But you're right, Mark. If anything, Cooper Cup should have won that year because he did do all of those things. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I
And there
believe the
wasn't
last
any
time.
quarterback like last year
Yeah.
that was just absolutely dominant, like
Well,
dominating the league.
that's why it's like the last time we saw someone achieve the Triple Crown, I believe, was Calvin Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. Colin, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're very
Very well
intelligent in
versed. Yes.
your football statistics, but that's why I'd make that argument. That's why people are making the argument even on ESPN and on
No, I
TNT and all
agree.
these
I
different
agree.
things.
The argument is completely valid, and I stand for that argument. I think the wide receiver position definitely deserves to win the MVP. There's no way you can tell me that there are these other positions, okay, that have won MVP, but you can't give it to a wide receiver, man, with the
Yeah,
amazing
but
wide
but then
receivers that
but
have
then
been
also
there
it's
throughout
like
history.
I think that's why they made the Offensive Player of the Year award, because there are many players that had a generational season. They had a 1 in a million season, and they can't award they can't award every single player. So the MVP is the first place for the whole league, right? And then that's like that guy was the greatest of the whole league. And then the second place is just the offensive player of the year and defense. I mean,
I get
if
you, Mark.
what year was it
I'm
that
saying
Nick Bosa broke like
your
the sack record or something? I mean, he could
your
have won the
It
MVP as
was
well.
it was TJ Watt last year. I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah.
last
TJ
year.
Watt,
He tied. He
TJ
tied.
Watt is yeah.
I
That was a generational season.
I understand you, Mark, and you're right. On a year-by-year basis, that's why that award exists. But like you said, every once in a decade, right? Every once in a decade, there's these players outside of the quarterback that have these absolutely insane generational seasons,
Yeah,
statistically and winning wise, in accolades and in what they do, like the intangibles. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And
But
I
then
think
it's like
in those cases, okay, but in those cases, the league, the voters, they can't be as conceited as they are and hand the award to a quarterback when another player is
But
more
then
deserving.
also at the same time, it's like yeah, other players deserve it. But then there are quarterbacks doing the same thing, passing for 4,500, 5,000 yards in that same
Okay,
season.
but here's the problem.
That's the thing.
How many quarterbacks have we seen do that? Definitely
I
more
mean, we
than a
saw Mahomes
handful
do
of
that. We've seen
times.
Peyton
Right,
Manning do that. We've
exactly.
seen Tom Brady do that,
We've
and they've
seen
won the
it.
MVP every single one of those
Right,
years. And
right.
I think we could see a quarterback this year do 4,500 yards, like Dak Prescott, like Tua Tagovailoa. So there's no reason that you wouldn't
Yeah,
want to give it to him.
absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. It's not as rare as an occurrence. It's not as generational because we've seen more than a handful of times. The amount of times you can count it on your fingers. If you can see it more than that, it's amazing, but it's not generational, man. And you got to be less conceited. I'm not saying it's not impressive.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. It's completely and utterly impressive what these quarterbacks do.
no, I agree.
But if you're a quarterback, and I'm just keeping it real, you have a good or a better chance to win the MVP than every other position every
Absolutely,
year. Every
absolutely.
year.
Yeah,
And we
because
know
your
this. It's
stats
just a
stick out
rule
the
in
most. I
football.
mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's a rule in football.
yeah.
You carry the responsibility for your team. You earn that right. I'm not saying it's not earned. I'm
I
not
mean,
trying
it's
to
the
talk
same thing
down.
with the Heisman.
Yeah,
It's like a quarterback wins it every year, but
I'm
then you
not.
have
Yeah,
that once
I'm
in
not
a
trying to
while, like
say that.
Devonta Smith. You know what I mean, winning the
Right.
Heisman his year.
Exactly. I'm not trying to say quarterbacks aren't deserving. They shoulder the responsibility, therefore they earn that spotlight.
Yeah, I
That's
just
not what I'm
think
trying to
it's
say.
it's a seasonal thing because yeah, I mean there could be a year where all quarterbacks are doing pretty mid, and one player could go absolutely ballistics, and it could be Tyreek Hill, it could be Christian McCaffrey,
And that's
it could be
right.
fuck
And
it. I mean, excuse me,
Cooper
it could
Cup,
be mess it
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Cooper Cup. It could be Tutu Atwell. It could be like Brock Purdy. I mean, who knows, right? But it
You're
all depends on
completely
how
right.
other people are playing in that same
And
season. And
I think this is the year. I'm saying You don't have. It's not like Patrick Mahomes. The Patrick Mahomes that we've seen this year is not the same as the Patrick Mahomes we saw last year.
No, not at
Last
all.
year,
Yeah,
he
definitely
was
not. Definitely not.
completely and utterly dominating the league. There was no question about who was going to
Absolutely.
be MVP.
Yeah, I agree.
This
I
year,
agree.
you can't tell me who the standout best quarterback in the league is. And you know what? I can tell you who the standout best wide receiver is in this league, and it's Tyreek Hill. And you know what? He's also projected to break the 2,000-yard mark. And if a wide receiver does that, something a wide receiver has never, ever, ever done in the history of the National Football League, what other year are you going to tell me, no, don't? I think the wide receiver should have done this, and then I would have given him the MVP. No, this is the year. Hey, man, he's checking all the boxes. Why aren't you going to give him an MVP?
It's because the way that the committee decides on it is not. It's not like that. That's the problem. Which is why they would probably give it to the quarterback that was throwing the ball to him because he was the one that influenced him getting all these yards. That's how they would think of it, right?
I
So
understand.
like,
I agree
it's like
with
you got to
you,
think of it in a
and
way
I
that
know,
how they did it. You know what I mean?
I know that's how they think of it, and that's what I'm saying. I'm challenging that idea, man. All I'm saying is, every now and then we have to stop being so biased towards the quarterback, especially like I'm saying, once in a decade, there are players that have these generational seasons.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean, yeah, you're
and
not
then
wrong.
you have to give the MVP to somebody else, man. But can we quickly search up when the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP?
2012, Adrian Peterson.
10, 10 years ago exactly. Once in a decade, man. Can
Yeah,
we get it done? Please.
it's possible.
Well, just to put into perspective, there have been 67 NFL MVPs. 46 of them have been quarterbacks, 18 running backs, one defensive lineman, one linebacker, and one kicker. That is it. So
We gotta share some love, man. Spread the love.
yeah, well, you guys made great points, and
Yeah.
this was a great debate.
Hey, go Dolphins anyway.
Go Finns.
Let's go, baby.
All right, well, picking up with the rest of this week, the Chiefs beat the Raiders, Ravens beat the Chargers, and the Pastronaut sucks. So
Yep.
that was that.
That was the
Bears.
worst game of the year, man. No
Dude,
touchdowns.
I mean, I would have rather watched the Puppy Bowl instead of this. I mean, that was brutal. I do not want to see that like ever again.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Well, now it is time, as we do every week, to see our record in our NFL predictions. So, as you can see here, I'm in first place because
Of
Uh,
course.
and then we got Marco, and then Mark, and then Oscar. Last week, Mark and I both went 10-4. Marco struggled a little bit at 8-6, and then Oscar 9-5. So not terrible. It's still pretty close, pretty neck and neck. But
oh yeah.
let's see if we can improve our records for next week. Okay, so now we are gonna go over our Week 13 NFL predictions.
Man, it's already
So
week 13. That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
we got Thursday Night Football, the Seattle Seahawks versus the Dallas Cowboys.
You know,
Mark?
someone get me a cowboy hat or something, because how about them Cowboys?
As much as it pains me, I gotta pick the Cowboys too.
Yeah, Geno Smith has been struggling. I'll go with the Cowboys as well. Then on Sunday, we got the Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans.
I think, the Colts it is going to probably be one of the not great games, but it has the possibility to be a great one as well, if both teams play well. I'd love to see the Colts do good here, and I think I can see them winning this game here.
I think the Colts are gonna win this one. I think Tennessee could put up a real good game. Hopefully, Derrick Henry gets a couple of touchdowns in. I think he needs it, man. He's a deserving player, but I think the Colts kind of just edge this one out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts as well. But this is definitely a trap game, divisional game. Wouldn't be surprised if the Titans won. Then we
Yep.
got the Falcons versus Tim Boyle and the New York Jets.
Man, like the Falcons are just like they're either here or they're either here. Like they either have a decent game
Very inconsistent.
or they're absolutely atrocious. And the Jets are still like every girl I've talked to, like I've mentioned before. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets win this game. I don't see the Falcons winning this week. I don't think the Falcons get 2 wins in a row. I think the Jets is gonna be like one of the worst games of the year. The Jets defense is still really good. The Falcons with Desmond Ridder, I don't think they can do anything about that. I gotta go with Jets.
Interesting. I am gonna go with the Falcons because I say it every week. The Jets suck. They just suck, and I don't see their offense scoring any points.
They
So
do, and I agree with you, Colin. I gotta pick the Falcons.
yeah.
They're making a push for that NFC South division.
Yeah. Then next we got the Detroit Lions hoping to bounce back versus the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, man. I think they're gonna bounce back.
Yeah,
The Lions are a great team, and the Saints are, they have their moments, but I think Rashid Shaheed is not gonna be playing this week, and he's been uh a a X factor player for the Saints with that deep ball and just he's been something else. I don't think he's gonna play this week due to an injury, so I think that's something that's gonna be not too great for the Saints, and Derek Carr is not playing at his greatest like he should be. I gotta go with the Lions here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions as well.
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Uh,
You know
yep.
what? I gotta go with the Lions, man. As much as I think they have a lot to prove. It's just they're on a completely different caliber than the Saints, and it's not Thanksgiving, so they're all good.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Next up, we got a very interesting matchup. Two teams on the rise. We got the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans.
I think it's going to be the most competitive game of the week, and I have the Texans just barely edging out the Broncos, out with the old, new, in with the new. I think CJ Stroud is going to have a great game, man.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Broncos country, let's ride, right? But I mean, Broncos being at 7-5, that'd be 6 games in a row. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the defense could fully step up against this pretty good Texans wide receiver core that they have with Tank Dell and
Hey,
s-
man.
and
Yeah,
Nico
CJ
Collins.
CJ Stroud is just slinging that thing, man. He's just throwing deep downfield, and he doesn't care, man. And he's not getting intercepted as much,
Yeah, but
that
it's
much.
it's
So
the scary part. You think of the Broncos, you think of Pat Surtain, and he's a top 10 cornerback,
no, of
and
course, I'm not saying the Broncos have a defense to sneeze at. At least
yeah,
they
but
did at the
I
beginning of the
think
season, but not anymore. I think they've kind of picked up the ropes. But hey, man,
I think this is a Texans bounce back win.
yeah, me
This would be a
too.
fun game to watch, though. I think if both teams play how they have been, this would be a good one.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Texans as well. I think the Broncos are gonna slow down a little bit here. So go with the
Mr.
Texans.
Unlimited is going to be limited this week, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His interceptions though will be unlimited.
Unlimited.
And then we got the Chargers versus the worst team in the
The
league.
the the what team is
This
that? Sorry, are they in the XFL? Who
I think they just got
they got
promoted.
promoted. They
they
just
got
Yeah,
got
promoted?
promoted.
yeah,
The
Yeah,
is that the Connecticut Patriots?
something like that. I've never heard of them before. Honestly, they
Yeah,
kind
me
of
neither. I'm gonna
yeah. I'm
take
neither
just
the
will
gonna go with
I.
the
Chargers, man.
Chargers.
Yeah, gotta
Austin
take the
Eckler,
Chargers.
bounce back game.
Yeah,
Calling it.
hopefully the Chargers have a bounce back game, man.
Yep.
I need those fantasy points.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. Chargers. And then we got the Cardinals versus the Steelers.
Do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear that? What what's what's that in the distance? Is that Oscar's weekly upset alert? Woo
Bro,
Upset alert,
woo!
baby.
it's not working, boys.
All right, technical
Screen share the audio.
difficulties.
Screen share the audio. Screen share the audio.
Go
Bro, I'm
ahead, bring the
trying, bro.
alarm
It's
up.
not working. This is not a good look. I don't know what's happening.
Don't worry, we'll get it working for next week, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, my upset alert for the week. I was scouring through the schedule, looking at who's likely to get upset this week, and I was looking at that Panthers Bucks game. I was looking at that Rams game as well. With was it with the Browns? Yeah, the Rams Browns game. But I have a feeling that the Cardinals are gonna upset the Steelers, man. They've always been a solid team with a lot of bite, and if we know how the Steelers play, They like to play those late game situations. They're not that good in the early game, and the Cardinals are the exact opposite to them. They come out, they hit you in the face, and then they kind of teeter off. But if the Cardinals could stay with the leg up and hold firm on defense, I think they can come out with a W here today.
Honestly, I kind of want to agree with you. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
I
like the
I
Cardinals could win. Like,
I
they
I do too, man. Like, I don't see the Steelers scoring
wait.
much
Who
points.
did the Cardinals lose to last week? The Rams.
Yeah,
Yes, I believe so.
37
Dude,
to 14.
I really want to pick the Cardinals, bro.
Yeah, I do too, bro. I got, dude. I think Kyler Murray's gonna have a decent game here. I
Yeah,
can't
and
lie.
Kyler Murray's back. Come on now. I'm putting the Cardinals to upset the Steelers. Lock my pick in right now, and I'll see y'all boys next week when my upset alert is hopefully right.
I I I gotta go with you, dude. I feel like the Cardinals could win this. I feel like the Cardinals are gonna come out hot.
Dude, I wanna pick the Cardinals too,
Do
though.
it, bro. Do it. I know you want to.
The Steelers defense is kind of nice, though. That's the only
Yeah, they're
problem.
nice. They're nice.
But
No shade on the
are they?
Steelers,
But
but
do they have the
Look,
GOAT, the
the only
midget
thing is though,
himself, the
the,
Penguin runner, the
the
Call of
only
Duty phase member God, Kyler Murray? No.
the only thing is though is they scored 8 points against the Rams. Like their defense is not that good, and the Steelers actually have a good defense. So I'm gonna
hey
go with the
man,
Steelers. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I think the Steelers are gonna win. We'll see.
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
I have to. I can't. Like, I'm just gonna pick the Steelers. All right, we'll skip the next game. Panthers versus Buccaneers. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Uh, I have two thoughts about this.
Yeah.
The NFC South is the NFC, right? NFC South.
Yeah.
This is the worst division. I mean, this is atrocious. Do I think the Panthers can make a bounce back? Firing their coach and maybe having some hope in that offense? Possibly. Do I think the Bucks have a better offense and defense? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think Baker Mayfield will play up to expected? Hopefully. Is it possible? Probably not. This is a tough decision to make, and I don't see the Panthers bouncing back. I think the Panthers are going to begin tanking, and I got to go with the Bucks, bro.
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree. I agree.
I was inclined to pick the Panthers, but hey man, all things considered, the Bucks should win this game pretty handedly. The Bucks are not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I'm not saying they're a really good team either. They got a solid team going down there, and if they play their pieces right and do some tinkering to that team, they could be pretty nice for next year, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers as well. I think Baker Mayfield's gonna have a nice game. And now, personally, my opinion, the game of the year. I don't care what other games come after this. I think this is the game of the year. I think this is
Oh
gonna be
yeah. Oh
incredible.
yeah.
And I think
I
the winner of this game will move up to number one in the NFL power rankings. We got the San Francisco
Colin.
49ers traveling to the link to take on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Colin, I would like to agree with you and say that this is the game of the year. I think skill wise it is. I think these are the two best teams in the NFL. Like hands down, no holds barred. But I do have to say that I think the 49ers are just gonna win this one and keep the Eagles quiet with some really good defense. I think watching wise, it's not gonna be the game of the year. If you're into defense, then yeah, this might be the game of the year for you. But I think the Niners are just gonna come out with a solid, not uncompetitive, but a solid, grounded win over the Eagles.
Was it the 49ers and the Eagles that faced in the NFC
Yeah.
Championship last year?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
Brock
the
Purdy
Eagles
went
won,
out
right?
in that game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Brock Purdy tore his UCL.
Yeah. This is such a tough pick, and I really don't know what to go here. Could the Eagles go 11-1? I think so. The 49ers just have a great defense, and they have a good offense too. Are the Eagles going to be able to contain Christian McCaffrey? I don't know. That's the dark horse right there. Are the Eagles going to be able to contain Christian McCaffrey? And are the 49ers going to be able to contain Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown? Uh, this is a tough pick, Colin. I'd love to hear what you're going to say because I know,
Bro,
Oscar,
don't
you're
put this
going with the
on me
49ers.
now.
But
yeah, because Colin, just to harp on you for a second, like last year, you think about the game of the year, it was Vikings Bills, man. Just an insane game, right? And
Yeah,
something you were not expecting at all. This game, I don't think it's going to be an offensive showcase, man. I think it's going to be a lot of stout defense, and these teams are going to game plan for each other very well. These are two tremendous teams, and it's going to be probably a low to mid scoring affair. I don't think anyone breaks 30 in this. I'd be
yeah.
surprised if anyone breaks 25 actually.
That's
Yeah,
why. That's why I think the 49ers are going to take this. I don't see the Eagles going 11-1. I think the 49ers have a little better defense. I think they can contain AJ Brown and DeAndre Swift and all these guys. They're still going to be great players, and I think Jalen Hurts has been very interception. Uh, uh,
Interception prone.
Bro.
yeah, he's been very interception prone, and I feel like the 49ers defense would have figured out a way to get him in their scheme that they want to, and I think the 49ers will win it. It's all going to depend on if the 49ers can score, because the Eagles are going to score regardless. We know that. And it's just all going to depend on how the 49ers do against this tough Eagles defensive line and corners and safeties. So.
Yeah, the thing that makes this tough is that Lane Johnson, the offensive lineman for the Eagles, and Fletcher Cox, the defensive lineman for the Eagles, are both limited in practice and they might not play.
Yeah,
So that's very detrimental to the Eagles' success in this game. But I don't know, bro. This is going to be such a good game. I think, you know what? I think the home team wins this game. I think if this game was in San Francisco, I might go with the 49ers, but it's in
it's
Philadelphia.
a good take, man.
I think the Eagles are going to win because they're at home, but obviously will not be surprised either way. This is going to be such a great game to watch, and I'm looking forward to it. We have three more games. We have the Cleveland Browns versus the Los Angeles Rams.
I think the Rams are hot, but they're going to teeter off. Plus, the Browns need this one, and their defense is always very stout. Miles Garrett is going to be a problem in that game, and that's my take
Yeah.
on that. The
Yeah,
Browns are
I
winning.
think so as well. I don't think the Rams have an even great offensive line either, so going up against Miles Garrett, it's not going to be fun for them. So gotta go with the
That
Browns.
is that is true. It is tough though because the Rams have been playing well lately, and the Browns don't have a quarterback, so I don't really know. I mean, they limited the Cardinals to 8 points, right? So
Yeah.
I'm assuming the Rams defense is pretty good, and they're playing against a team that
Whoa,
doesn't
whoa,
have a
whoa,
quarterback.
whoa, whoa. It's the Cardinals. And as much as I just picked them to win, like, they're
Bro,
not
but
offensively gifted.
they're a better team though with Kyler Murray. I mean,
I
they almost won.
agree. I
They I
agree.
don't
But if you can game plan for Kyler Murray, unless it's versus the Steelers, uh, it's pretty easy to stop, man.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think the Rams are gonna win.
I think that's an
Um,
interesting take.
yeah, it is interesting. I think the Browns are favored for sure, but I'm just gonna go with the Rams. If this game was a few years ago, it'd be real nice, but
Oh yeah.
not so much anymore. Chiefs versus the Packers on Sunday Night Football.
Dude,
I
if the
think that's
Chiefs
they thought
receivers
that.
could
I
catch
think
the ball,
I think they think it's 2020 because
Yeah. Well,
why
I'm
is
gonna
this
go
on
with the
Sunday
Chiefs.
night? Why is this on Sunday night?
I don't
I,
know.
I, I I'm not sure, but I think the Chiefs are
Gotta
taking
go with the
this one.
Chiefs. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then this would have been a good game if Joe Burrow was playing, but Monday night you got the Bengals at the Jaguars. I have to go with the Jaguars in this one.
Me too. Gotta go with the Jags, especially after their uh, nail biting victory last week. I think they kind of ride high and they keep a little bit of that momentum going versus the Bengals, who's gonna fight hard. I think the Bengals gonna fight hard, but they don't have the X factor in Joe Burrow anymore to bail them out.
Yeah. Mark, what do you think?
Uh, the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow. I mean, and the Jags are playing pretty good. Um, it's if this was with Joe Burrow, this would be a great game, and I think that's why they put the schedule like this. But injuries, man, have riddled this season, and I just gotta go with the Jags. I think we're gonna get a good game from Travis Etienne, though. I think he's gonna have a bounce back game, probably another 2 touchdown game. I think that'd be nice. Calvin Ridley gonna play like doo doo. Evan Ingram, possibly. Let's see it.
Yeah. Well, that is all for the predictions for Week 13 of the NFL. So hopefully we're right. Well, I hope you guys
Well,
are
Hey
wrong,
man,
but
hopefully we'll be
I
right.
hope
Yeah.
you're wrong, Colin.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
Colin.
okay. Okay, man. I think both of you guys picked the same teams for every single game except the Jets game. I'm pretty sure. So
Well, let's see.
yeah, we'll see. Well, Mark, you wanna wrap it up?
Well, absolutely. I mean, first of all, thank you guys for tuning in to the Get It Right Saturday Night podcast. We hope you guys have a great Saturday night and get it right like we do. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. And
Oh, of course it works
is that
now.
is that the Oscar
Upset
upset
alert.
alert playing?
Flipping, bro.
That is that's one way to end the podcast, guys. We're ending it
All
out with a
right.
bang, baby. You already know. We hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll
We'll
see
see
you
you
all
guys
next week.
next week.
And let's go Dolphins, baby. Broncos country. Let's not ride this week, so I can actually
Go
get my
Fins.
predictions. And
Yeah. All right.
have a great one. Thank you for tuning in. All love.
Fins up. See ya.
See ya.